Hey there. Gord, you're hurting hippie. With a week after owning the ZV-1, what's my thoughts? How's my feelings on it? And what have I learned? Well, I've certainly learned there is a huge difference between vlogging with your phone and vlogging with a camera like this. With the phone, you just turn it on, turn it to record, press the button and start talking. What I'm starting to learn here is if you want to use all the features properly, you can't just do that. Every single time you go to use this, you have to think, what was the settings I had last time? And do those settings even hold? For instance, I'm going to do it right now, the background defocus. Now it's clear. I like the defocus on, and I just put it on. However, I turn this camera off and turn it back on, that defocus will be off again. You have to set it just before or during recording, and it isn't going to hold it. Also, I have the ND filter on right now because, my goodness, it is bright out today. But I often forget to turn off the ND filter when all of a sudden something's happening at home that I really want to record. And then I go, oh my goodness, that's so dark. And also, let's say there's also, let me just take one brief look. See, I cannot press the menu button while I'm recording. And it does feel like the ND filter isn't on. I feel like I'm washed out. So let me be right back. And I just checked. The ND filter is on. It's just a really bright day, folks. Yeah, it's not washed out, huh? I also have to remember I have the screen brightness set to really bright so that I can see what I'm doing, and I gotta start looking at the camera instead of at the screen. And what else have I learned? I have learned a fair amount about slow motion. Somebody coming along here, so I'm gonna walk to the other side. I've learned an awful lot about slow motion on this camera. There's a couple of ways to do it. And there is the MFR setting, multi-frame rate, where you can get some absolutely incredible slow-mo footage. No sound, and it's a small burst. So you can do some filming in small bursts, and then you gotta wait for it to buffer and record. And I find that really difficult. What I found better is if you think you're going to record something and later slow it down in edit, switch to 60 frames per second. If you're absolutely, for sure, filming just to play with the speed, film it in 120 frames per second. You can do that while recording just like this. I could film this in 120. I'm filming it in 30. And if I didn't know for sure, I would change it to 60. So that's not something I ever used to worry about with vlogging. I just always recorded at 30 and upload to YouTube. So that's also a new state, is I've always got to be thinking about, okay, what's the day like? What kind of settings am I going to need? But also, what am I actually recording? Come on. Where's my face? There we go, it's starting to adjust. Really dark right out of the brightness. But you gotta think, what am I going to record? Like, to just turn this around right now and record something that's in front of me, which I'm about to do, I'm filming at 30 frames per second. So I'm not gonna be able to slow it down. But I certainly can get a good picture of it. Like, I'm gonna show you right now, I'm gonna turn this around. My favorite plant. See, I'm not going to slow this down because it's 30 frames per second. It's not going to, but it isn't something that I would record that way anyway. But isn't it a pretty plant? Like, it's weedy looking. Good day. I'm just doing a YouTube video.
Oh, sorry. It's technically a weed.
Yeah. Yeah, as somebody who's just walking by said, technically this is just a weed, but it to me this is a hippie plant. Look at that hair. It's like my hair, you know? Just really, really cool. So here we go. Let's go down to the river and I'll show you. I'll do some filming at 120 so that I can do some adjustments to the speed on the playback. And I've got mail. So I'm going to let y'all go. We'll see you at the river. I'm going down there. This is not adult only, so I won't be partaking at the river, but I will be off camera. And let's have a really nice montage. Then we'll come back to the hippie, probably tomorrow morning, with little known facts. So stay tuned. Let's start that music. Music winds down. I want to thank y'all for still being here. Friends, today is all about this camera, and it's all about my learnings. And first of all, mosquitoes. It's early morning. It was a wet night, storms all night long. But this isn't a vlog. This is a Sony vlog, so let me get back to it. I hope you enjoyed the slow-mo. I'm getting better at it. I'm learning that if you have a subject that's really close and the lighting is really good and you just simply want a few seconds of it moving really slow, use multi-frame rate. Have it preset, click your menu button, go to multi-frame rate, and quickly record it. it takes a while, it takes some practice to use MFR, because the moment you press it, you only have a second or so, and it captures what it sees, and then it creates a slow-mo. And you can't do a bunch in a row because it takes a while to process. So you have to think about that. Where, as I said before I went on to the montage, I filmed all of that in 60 frames a second and 120 frames a second. I didn't notice much difference when I'm slowing it down. Some of that was even slowed down to 10%. So 10 times slower, yet clear, crisp. That's the nice thing about using a slightly higher frame rate, but not a hugely higher frame rate, and just recording normally. So I have kind of decided that most of my slow-mo is not something I do a lot of, but I have noticed that if you use it appropriately during a montage, it can give a really extreme view to a certain few things. Having a whole montage about slow-mo, that was done for this. It isn't something I would do again. It was kind of neat to go down to the river and anywhere else and think only with a slow motion in mind and what would make good slow motion. And I'm learning that as we go along too, friends. I know this is not a super technical thing. Yes, I am a photographer. Yes, I know my shutter rates. I know my f-stops, all that kind of stuff. But my channel has always been for the casual user. No real super technical things. No getting in depth. No getting myself in trouble for my lack of knowledge. And I'm old. I'm tired of learning. I just want to use these things. This Sony ZV-1, I can say without a doubt, is now my vlogging camera. Here I am in the morning doing my video. I used to do it on my phone. What are the advantages? Well, definitely better picture, more abilities at your fingertips to do with what you want to create a video that meets your needs. I feel now there isn't a video that I would personally do that I can't do with this camera. But my phone, there's many, many things I couldn't do with it. It was handy, it's easy, and now I'm carrying a phone and a camera. It becomes a little more difficult, a little more sore on my shoulders. So I'm still out there looking for accessories that are going to help. Am I going to get a gimbal for this when I have something to hold it already? Maybe. Am I going to get maybe some kind of harness to carry it to make it easier when I'm not holding it? Maybe, because right now I have to hold it all the time. It's not a difficult thing, friends. It's really not. So, bottom line, do I like the Sony ZV-1? I really do. I'm really, really happy with the purchase. I'm happy with the base colors direct out of it. I don't have to use picture profiles. I don't need to use all this extra after screen editing. I do editing, but I do it more for humor and fun and information. I don't do it to make it more cinematic or more controlled or whatever. So, out of the box, or even not straight out of the box, if you're good at cameras or if you're not good at cameras, if you want something that vlogs, if you want something that's going to keep focus on your face instead of all the things around you while you're doing your stuff, this is the camera for you. It's kind of expensive, but it's not as expensive as those bigger ones that most vloggers were using. So friends, peace and cheers, love and harmony, and thank you for being a part of my experience with this camera. Peace.